Hello everyone, it's Train King James here, back again with another layout video. So usually I like to do these a little bit closer to Christmas time, but I've been working on other videos and stuff like that unfortunately I haven't been able to really sit down and do one of these yet. So without further ado, I decided to do another one of these layouts this year on my side table. I'd like to do one on the floor again. Problem is I have stuff over here now and this table takes up space, so I'd have to figure out a way to really do it to be able to clear out the space again, to be able to go on the floor and use like all of my destinations. But yeah, so one thing I did with this layout is I forced myself to build the road section first. And once I finished the road section, only then could I build the railway around it, and that's what I did, and then I got this, pretty nice layout. I think it's fine. I don't think it's the best layout I've made or anything like that. One of the issues is because I, don't have any road switches, I can't really do too many crazy things with the road. I can't send it in many directions. So the road is a giant loop. So without further ado, we'll actually start with the road. We're at the Hilltop Station. And at the Hilltop Station, we have Birdie. And Thomas is here as well, but we'll worry about him later. So we follow Birdie. You go up the ascending track to where George is sitting on top, looking down the rest of the island, probably making plans. But you go through this rock face. Ugh, can't talk. Go through this rock face, and it takes you into Brendam Docks, where you have Lorry 1 waiting with a flatbed, and down there you have Salty and Porter and Cranky. Follow along, there's a fire truck, the old style one. You have the Sodor Power Crew. These are new. I got them this summer on a trip. Then you follow around, go to the ambulance, you go down to the cargo transfer where I have the scrap lorry waiting. And then you go into the toll booth. Here, Bulgy's waiting on the other side. You go under the Hilltop Station, and you reach the level crossing where you have Lorry 3, broken down with Flower and a couple other characters in the area looking, including Elizabeth, who's on the road. You go past Mr. Jolly's Chocolate Factory. You go up the mountain overpass where Butch is trying to save Lorry 2, who is currently off the road. And then you come back around to Birdie. So basically the road section, I can get it all in one shot of a little, close enough. Yeah, you can see pretty much all of it there. The entire road section is pretty much a giant figure 8, which is fine. There's not a ton I can really do with it until I eventually get road switches. So now let's go to the main part of the layout, the rail. So of course we have Thomas pulling Andy and Clarabelle to Hilltop Station, and we'll follow his track this way. Takes us, of course, over this crossover track inside the Brendam warehouse where you have the docks, and he takes on the Porter's line. Porter's got the Calliope, something I picked up at a train show recently, and the Calliope for some reason is derailed. I'm not sure how that happened. But yeah, there's the Calliope. So if you follow this track, it comes to a switch where James is, and he's pulling my boxcars and a brake van. And this switch will take you back up this way to where Gordon is pulling the express. He's pulling 5 of my 9 express coaches. And takes you over the toll booth to a switch here where it will go back to Thomas's line. So it's kind of like a little bypass line. So if you don't want to go to Brendam Docks in the station, you would then take Gordon's line and just shoot right through. We'll go back to where James is, and it goes to a crossover section here. This is actually, this section here, this crossover piece is from the Reg set. And if you go up James's line, it'll take you to where Emily is on 2 of my now 5 Archstone viaducts. I couldn't fit them all on this layout, but I have more now. I used to only have 1. I got 4 a couple weeks back from 3 Henry the Green Engine. There are my Knapford Express coaches, all 4 of them, and of course the Tidmouth Covered Bridge. And that takes you to a switch. So you can go one of 2 directions. You can either go right or go left. Sorry, sometimes I knock into the table and stuff gets derailed. We'll go right first. Here we go. So there's the grist mill down there. And if you go down here, it leads to another switch where Hero is sitting in the special engine shed. And then you follow this goods train where I believe that is Douglas is pulling it. And the goods train has a couple gray faces, my custom Season 1 truck, and my 2 troublesome brake vans. And it kind of runs alongside the road here for a little bit, but splits away to go to the barrel loader. So we're going to go back to Brendam Docks for a second, just to cover some stuff. So if we're going to jump onto Salty's line. So if you go on Salty's line, you go under the road, you go past the lighthouse, Edward's pulling my red coaches here, you go this way underneath the road to where Oliver is, and Oliver's pulling my blue trucks, and there's Toad at the end of the train, and there's the burning shed from that one diesel, Day of the Diesel set. I can't remember the exact name. It had like Thomas and Bell in it. A couple other buildings. There's the cargo transfer again. But underneath Oliver is a switch. Here is Maithwaite Station. New addition. I picked this up also at a train show recently. And Toby is there pulling Henrietta. Another switch leads to a little yard area. So in said yard, we have Winston and Sir Topham Hatt talking to Duck. There's the water refilling tank right there. And in the shed, we have Stanley and an empty coal bin or cargo bin, depending on what you choose to use it as. So if we follow, it really doesn't matter whose line we follow here, because both lines will come to a switch right by the oil derrick. And there's Harold sitting in a field. And the oil derrick is Diesel pulling my oil tankers, my custom ones. And then that line will take you straight to where Percy is pulling the mail and he's at a crossing. We'll come back to that section in a sec. If you backtrack down Percy's line, it goes into the single stone tunnel, and then you enter Salty's line here. Alright, so before we get to back to the crossing, we'll make our way over here onto this line, where Henry and Trevor are at the log loader, where I have my Trevor rolled. Trevor wants to try to roll off the tape. Oh, there he goes. Sorry about that. This table is not exactly even, so characters want to roll. But here's Trevor. And at the log loader, I have a new Henry's Forest log car. It's the open-ended one, my first one. This goes to a switch, and this switch will take you back to the crossing. So if you go straight across the crossing, it takes you to where Lorry 3 derailed, and that is where Donald is waiting with a goods train. Slight reference to Hard Lorry here. In fact, all 3 lorries are references to Hard Lorry. So if you follow Donald's line, it takes you to the switch where Douglas is. Another house here, the barrel loader, the mountain overpass, the windmill, a lot of stuff in this area. And if you follow it, you can pass by Douglas's train, which is very similar to Donald's, and it takes you back to a switch. But before we get there, if you go forwards here, it'll take you up and around the China clay pits, where the fossil run said, you could say. And at the top of the hill are Bill and Ben. I do plan to make a CGI Bill and Ben one day. I actually have 2 pairs of each, but in the meantime, this will just have to do for a layout video. So of course you can go back down. We'll go to this switch, and you go up a hill past the signal, and it leads you to another switch, which if you go this way, it takes you to where Gordon is and where Thomas is. Or if you go straight, you can go onto the Soto Bay Bridge, where Samson is waiting with a train of you could say stone or ballast and coal, kind of like one of those Season 1 trains, and Bradford's at the back. Alright, you go down here now past the switch. You have Terrence and a building here, and you have Philip pulling the Easter egg car just by himself. And we re-enter the quarry section of the island, which I think is pretty cool. It's got this really interesting interlocking loop thing. Just kind of do a little overview here. So first things first, you come to a switch where Timothy is, right by the rock crusher. And then you come around through the bottom of this piece here, and leads to where Mavis is shunting. But before we go to Mavis's, come around to another switch, which leads you to Boulder Mountain. As you go straight, takes you to where Timothy is, or you can turn and follow Ari and Bert in their scrap train, go past the signal box, back to where Percy is, and then you can take another switch and go underneath where the coal hopper is, which I'm just using temporarily as a quarry hopper because I don't have any. All right, so that is the layout pretty much in its entirety. Just showing off the areas again. I think it's a pretty nice one. I think I could do better though. I'd like to, like I said, I'd like to go back to building bigger ones, but time will tell when that will happen. Maybe it'll be next year, I don't know. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed all the content lately. This is Train King James signing off.